Hey investors, in this video I want to show you Mark Minervini's slingshot pattern. This is a pretty rare pattern. It's quite powerful. One of the reasons it works well is because there aren't many eyeballs on these stocks generally. They aren't crowded trades like you get with some of the more popular patterns, the cup with handle or double bottom, etc., etc. Let me show you three really good examples that Minervini actually pointed out today on during his Q&A session on MPA, and we'll talk about the structure of the pattern and if these stocks are buyable right now. If there's time, we'll see. I want to keep this a short video, but if there's time, maybe we'll look at the companies themselves. As always, before we look at the patterns, just remember, I'm just teaching you about a stock pattern. I'm not telling you to buy or sell anything. You need to make your own investment decisions. I have been investing since 1996, but I'm not a financial manager. Invest at your own risk. Check out my partner, Seeking Alpha Premium. It's an incredible source for fundamental analysis. And lastly, I forgot what my last thing was. Yeah, I do a Patreon. I have a Patreon service too where I show my portfolio and focus list every weekend. You can check that out. Link in the description. All right, let me show you a chart and we will talk about what this pattern is. I just learned from it in MPA, Minervini Private Access. I don't think it's in either of Minervini's investing books, certainly not in O'Neill. But without further ado, let's look at the charts. Okay, this is probably the best example out of the three. This is pure storage, computer data storage. This is the 1 year chart. We'll take a look at the 5 and 10 year charts too when we're done. But the basic, oops, getting some text from my friends. I better turn that off. So the philosophy behind this pattern is you have a nice base. The base breaks down, undercuts the obvious support zone, preferably with some vigor, if you will. And then it slingshots back up to new highs in just a few days. And that obviously shows demand. We have a bunch of sellers that shake out, and then beneath a certain level, we have some probably institutions lurking about who quickly gobble up those shares and vault it to new highs. And if you know anything about institutions, you know that when they accumulate, they usually accumulate for days or weeks or months, not just one and done like your Aunt Edna, for example, buying her, lot of 10 shares. So it slingshots to new highs, but then you still need to wait for a little pivot point to form. So let's carve this thing up. Let's get out the annotations tool. Now this might actually be a power play. Let's measure this thing. Oh, not quite. An 83% move, certainly very powerful. We had months of dead price action here. So this would have been a flagpole for a power play. But I'm getting kind of sidetracked here. Here is our delineation line, our line of support. I just put it in blue so you can see better. And this is earnings. So basically what happened was, actually let me draw a line across the top too. We've got kind of a horizontal consolidation zone. Let's see here. So we had a bit of a horizontal consolidation zone. We also had rather ominous head and shoulders top forming. Here's your shoulder, here's your head, here's your shoulder. And it undercut this support line on big volume. And at the time, that was very ominous. Let me erase these. Imagine you bought this little pivot here the day before earnings, or you bought on earnings day, and suddenly you're down 8% on the day. That would shake out all sorts of short-term traders and weak hands. And then we see this powerful movement, and in just 2 days, it's making an all-time high on good volume, and then it came back in on low volume. We want to see big volume out and small volume in. And now we see a bounce. Where's the bounce? Right off of the support line. We can draw a little line in right there. There's your bounce right there. So looking at this myopically, or in a vacuum, as Minervini says, just looking at this chart, this is a buy. Obviously, there's big strength. A lot of the trade has been de-risked post earnings, and after this wicked shakeout, you've had a normal pullback with the market. This would have been a buy yesterday. This would have been a buy today. If it goes inside and moves up again, in my opinion, it would still be a buy. Let's measure how high. Yeah, look, we're only a 1.5% from most of the supply. Let's just zoom out a little bit. Let's just look at the 5-year chart. Up and to the right, certainly volatile oscillations. 10-year chart, same thing. This is looking rather cyclical, isn't it? With these big swings. Most recently, you know, you have the makings of kind of, well, gosh, not really be. This, we would want to call this a cup, but we've got an inverted scallop here, so that's not William O'Neill's cup with handle. But certainly we have some sort of base formation here for the last 1.5 years, and then you've got this, we could call that a high handle. Now, if we have a minute, at the end of the video, we can look at the fundamentals as well. Okay, here's the next symbol, AMWD. That looks almost the same as PSTG, doesn't it? There's PSTG, there's AMWD. So we've got the same kind of thing. We've got some dead price action here. We've got technically an Adam and Eve base. We've got a nice move. Let's just measure that out. Yeah, 60% or so. Then it tried to base out here, made kind of, I guess we could call this the beginning of a Darvas box if we wanted to, maybe right there. But certainly the box broke through the 50-day on big volume, then had another big down day. That would have shaken out a bunch of weak hands, and then it made a little ledge here, which is bearish. Then it broke down again and made another huge down day. But this ended up being a huge, wide-ranging, bullish candle, bullish engulfing candle, technically. And then in just, 2 days, it ran to all-time highs. Now, certainly, we had a little bit more volatility the next day on a little bit higher volume than we'd like to see. But it did finish at least near the top of its range. And if you look, that's above most of the supply, right? Since then, it's just been making a little cap pattern. And looking at this chart, this one also looks like a buy if it opened to the upside above 79. I certainly would be willing to put on, say, a half position right there. Let's zoom out a little bit. Let's see, AMWD 10-year chart. Certainly this is not Apple or Amazon. This does not look like a buy and hold, at least over the last 10 years. But the price action the last 5 years certainly is looking better. Now, here's a huge cup. We want the handle to be at least halfway up the cup, and it is pretty close. We do have some overhanging supply in 2021, which definitely gives this chart a little bit lower of a grade, because there are still maybe some holders over here that will shake out, that will sell as the price runs up. And there will be technical traders like ourselves who see this wall of supply and sell in anticipation of that. However, that was over 2 years ago. Many of those buyers are long gone. So pretty good looking slingshot all in all. We'll look at the fundamentals in just a minute. Let me show you one more chart. Oh, and by the way, AMWD, American Woodmark, makes cabinets and so forth for houses. Let's see, the last chart I wanted to show you is DUOL. It's slingshot-esque. It's a little bit different. You got a nice prior uptrend, And you've got an Eve and Adam double bottom, where you've got a rounded bottom followed by a sharp bottom. The second bottom undercuts the first. That's exactly what you want to see. So this undercutting shakes out the shoe clerks right. And then we've got the spinning top doji followed by a good up day. If you were a candlestick chartist, that would be a potential buy point right there. Minervini certainly wouldn't make that play, but Japanese candlestick experts probably would. But in any case, you can see after it undercut this supply line. Should we just draw that in? Let's just draw that in here. We've got time, don't we? So we got a supply line right about there. We could undercut. Here's that big volume. See this big volume? And then we have kind of this cathartic big volume action with the doji, followed by a big bullish up day on big volume. And then, it took a few more days than the others to make an all-time high, but it is just about, actually it's not quite at an all-time high. Now, this is not ready to buy in my opinion. We've got all these up days, guys that bought down here, guys and girls that bought down here, or this little cheat. They're going to be looking to sell out of this if they're a swing trader. I would like to see this, in an ideal world, make a handle for 5 or 10 days and droop down, see what I'm doing with my mouse here, and then go, or break to 167.5 or so and make a cap on top of the pattern and then go. What does a cap look like? I'll show you. I was just looking at Meli today, M-E-L-I. See how we've got this breakout and then horizontal action on top of the pattern? That is called a cap. Okay, that's it on the slingshot lesson. Let me show you the fundamentals on these three stocks really quick, just for like 5 minutes. But before we do, so look for this pattern. It's rare. When you find it, not many people would look at those charts and say that they are really good buying opportunities. So you might get a little edge. You might get a little, you might get in before other investors make what is called a price discovery, right? Actually, you know what? You guys, I got to sign off here. I got to make, we got some company coming over for dinner, and I'm going to get in trouble if I stay on this video much longer. So let me just show you. Here's the MarketSmith page for Pure Storage, and I'll let you, here is some fundamental information for you. Right here, and relative strength right there. Just pause the video and study at your leisure. And here's AMWD. And here is Duolingo. And if you wanted to do more fundamental analysis, you could go over here to Seeking Alpha and you could type in Pure Storage, and it would give you access to all the financials and the transcripts of the conference calls, news articles, and you could read some of these analysis articles. Buy, strong buy, hold buy. Let's just read one headline. Pure Storage, flash innovation is driving momentum. You could read this article, or at least a summary, and you can find a link to Seeking Alpha Premium in the description. There's a free version, but the access to articles is really pretty limited. I upgraded from the free to the premium quite a while ago, and I'm really glad I did. I got to get out of here. Let me know if you guys find any other slingshots out there in the wild. Let me know. Or if you do any of these plays, let me know how the trade goes. Take care, everybody.